What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and baby, let's get into the drama of it all. So y'all already know we talking all things housewives as it stands for right now. But before we get into it, I just want to send out positive vibes and prayers to those that are experiencing the hurricane in the Caribbean areas. I think it's mainly affecting Grenada and Jamaica right now. But yeah, I hope if you come across this video, I really do hope you're okay. Because I do know I've had a few people say they from the islands that follow me. So I really do hope you guys are okay and you're safe and that eventually the storm will die down and things will go relatively back to normal, because I saw that in Grenada, they got hit the worst, so they have suffered a lot of damage. But I do hope that if you have any loved ones that live in the islands or are being affected by the hurricane, that they are okay. All right, y'all. So let's start off with Real Housewives of New York. So it looks like they have just added another full-time housewife. Her name is Racquel Chevremont, and she will be the second queer woman to be a part of the this franchise. So I'm getting this from People Magazine. I also saw it by way of All True Tea. They posted a graphic from the organization called GLAAD. Which is a LGBTQIA organization. And it says this: Black queer model and art curator Racquel Chevremont joining RHONY. And then they have like a quick little excerpt from her where she said this: my entire adult life has been about representation and using whatever platform I have to get the voices of queer people of the diaspora out there. What better way to do so if not as a member of this iconic franchise? And that was an excerpt from her. She was speaking at, I guess she spoke with GLAAD, and they were the ones that released this. So there's also a People Magazine article. I'll just read a little bit of it, but y'all know the link for that will be in the description box below. So it says The Real Housewives of New York adds Racquel Chevremont for season 15, making her the show's second queer star. It goes on to say, or she says, I hope that seeing me and my family and being able to relate to us regardless of our sexual orientation will perhaps change a couple of hearts and minds, the art curator said. It says Real Housewives of New York will have one more Apple holder for season 15. On Thursday, June the 27th, Bravo announced that the model turned art curator Racquel Chevremont has joined the cast of the hit franchise. She will serve as a full-time housewife alongside the returning stars Sai, Uba, Aaron, Jenna, Jessel, and Brit. As People reported in April, designer Rebecca Minkoff will also make her debut as a friend of. Born in Brooklyn and raised in the Bronx, Chevremont, 53, will be RHONY's second queer housewife, a milestone she told GLAAD will hopefully help bring queer representation to the forefront of reality TV. It goes on to say Chevremont is a mother of two kids, son Corey, daughter Ellie, who often appear on her Instagram. They said that she's also engaged to Mel, a relationship that started after she and her former collaborator, Micheline, I think it's Micheline Thomas, called off their engagement in 2022. The two were an art world power couple known as the Deux Femmes Noires. Judging from Chevremont's conversation with GLAAD, she won't be keeping her family from the RHONY cameras, unlike Lyons, who told New York Times in May that her loved ones, including her new girlfriend, Cass Bird, won't appear on the show. So Racquel seems like she's going to be cool. I like the fact that she's 53, because last season Jenna Lyons was the oldest. She was 56 and everybody else was like in their late 30s, because I think Bryn and Aaron were in their 30s, like their late 30s, like 36, 37. And then you had Sai and Jessel and Uba, who I think are in their 40s. So I feel like this is nice to add somebody else who's also in their 50s to the show. I wonder if she's going to be introduced to us by way of Aaron, because I was scrolling on Racquel's page and there's a video of her and Aaron making drinks together. So it seems like they're pretty cool. So I wonder if Aaron's going to be the one that introduces us to her. I also wonder who Rebecca is going to be a friend of. It seems like it could either be she could be a friend of like Jessel or Jenna Lyons, but I'm looking more so to Jenna Lyons, mainly because it seems like Rebecca is in fashion and she has had like a well-known brand for a long time. So yeah. I do find it interesting that they added in the People magazine about how Racquel is very devoted to being open and honest about her family. Like, she is going to show her fiance, going to show her kids, where we have Jenna being like, y'all not gonna meet my girlfriend Cass. Y'all aren't gonna really meet my other parts of my family. So I wonder if they're gonna use Racquel as like a comparison to be like, hey, we got this lady who is gay or queer and she is very open about showcasing her family, whereas we got Jenna, who I am still surprised that she came back, because to me she was kind of talking down about being part of the Bravo universe, to now you're back for your second season, and I'm just like, are you going to give us more? Because a lot of people were going up for Jenna, but to me she was lame. Like, it's cool that she is an icon and she is a giant in her industry, but as a reality TV personality, she's not good TV to me. But I wonder how Racquel is going to mix with the ladies. I am interested in seeing that. So next, let's talk about Real Housewives of New Jersey. Now, I meant to put this in my spicy corner for the New Jersey review, but forgot about it. So Margaret did an interview with Bryce Sanders, and I want to talk about the interview. So let me play the clip for you guys.
For barreling toward the finale so big, it canceled your reunion.
Yes.
They learned from the best white trash.
She is unhinged. Disgusting.
How bad does it get at Rails, and who is most at fault for where it goes?
A lot of things happen at Rails. It's just not the fight between Danielle and Jennifer. I think it's a lot of things. I don't think anybody's most at fault. I think there's just such a buildup of so many relationships, Bryce, that just explode. And I think it's finality of so many relationships that there's just nowhere to go from there.
When you heard the reunion was not going to happen, what was your initial reaction, and then how do you feel about it now?
Of course, I was very sad because I think I still have a lot to say. Not that I think there's going to be amends made, and that's, people are like, that's what a reunion's about moving forward. But I think, there's things that I wanted to say, because so many things have transpired. But I was like, you know what? That's just the way it is. That's life. And maybe it's better, because some people I really don't want to ever see again.
The network's kind of teaser will be some alternative way to wrap up the season. Yes. What's your hope of what we get at the end of this year?
I think the alternative wrap up, that everybody gets to say something, that we all get to say our piece and say what we really feel. And I think that the network will let us have it.
So I wanted to talk about this because I was actually surprised with Margaret's response, because when he asked about like who is most at blame, I thought she was going to put it all on Teresa and Jennifer. But the fact that she kind of was like, it was a multitude of things, makes me feel like Margaret actually sat back and realized that like it got to a point where it was too much. It was too much. And I also believe her when she says that like after that situation at Rails, it was like a lot of relationships met their final end. And I believe that, but I just thought her response was was very telling. It was telling that she did not just put blame all on Teresa and Jennifer, that she legit was like, a lot of things were a buildup, which makes me feel like everybody played a hand into why things got so nasty and so bad at that sit down at Rails. All right, y'all. So let's talk about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip drama with Brandi Glanville. So yesterday she sent off a series of tweets about how she's feeling and her possibly getting prepared to actually sue the network, which is Bravo. So she said this. She said, "I read that I wasn't punished for the false allegations in Morocco, I was fired, removed from the cast, held hostage in a hotel in Morocco for days. The cast rallied on my side and didn't want to continue without me because of the bad, untrue press. I've been canceled from all jobs. She continues, she says, I've been left no choice but to sue Bravo. I have receipts for days. This stress has ruined my health. I have uncontrollable stress-induced edema. I haven't worked for a year and a half. I'm too depressed to do my podcast, too swollen for cameo or OF. I'm being used as the fall guy. And then the last tweet was, I want so desperately to tweet all of my receipts, but my lawyers won't let me. I do appreciate all of your support more than you know. My cast from Morocco has been so amazing and supportive, and I love those gals. So those were Brandi's tweets. Now, this is the TMZ article. And it was posted yesterday. It says, Brandi Glanville, Bravo making me fall guy in RHOGT drama, no choice but to sue. So it says Brandi Glanville is sounding off on how the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip legal drama is impacting her mentally and financially, and she once again threatened to take legal action. The former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star took to X Tuesday, which is Twitter, to further deny Caroline Manzo's lawsuit claims Brandi sexually assaulted her during the production of the Morocco-based season. As Brandi put it, she's been put through the ringer over the lawsuit, saying that she was fired, removed from the cast, and held hostage in her hotel in Morocco for days. According to Brandi, she has no choice but to sue Bravo, claiming she lost out on work over the bad press. Brandi claimed her health has also taken a turn for the worse, citing stress-induced edema and depression as ongoing problems. She also insisted she is being used as the fall guy for Caroline's lawsuit. She has receipts for days to back up her version of what went down. Remember, Real Housewives of New Jersey alum filed her lawsuit for Bravo and Co. in January, alleging BG, which is Brandi Glanville, fondled and kissed her without her consent in the rental house in Morocco, claiming production did nothing to intervene. Brandi, for her part, has pointed the finger at production, saying they supplied her with the alcohol and encouraged her to encourage the behavior while filming. She is threatening to sue the Watch What Happens Live Andy Cohen in February, claiming of sexual harassment in 2022 when he invited her to watch her hook up with another Bravo celebrity over Housewives. Andy apologized on social media and said it was an inappropriate joke, and we have reached out to Bravo, but they have not given a comment. So here's my thing, y'all. I somewhat feel bad for Brandi. I know. Boo me as you may. If you must. But I also am looking at Brandi like, this is also your fault as well. Like, I still feel the way I've been feeling. Like, I don't think Brandi is going to get the outcome that she wants from this situation. I know she wants them to release the season for Ultimate Girls Trip Morocco, but I feel like in a way the network is protecting her as well as themselves and Caroline from this situation, because the way I see it is, if they show the season and what is being alleged actually happened, it's totally a wrap for Brandi and the production company that allowed what happened to happen. It's not Bravo's fault, because Bravo is the network, but they outsource production companies. But it's a wrap for that production company, and it's a wrap for Brandi, and Caroline will probably get the money that she's asking for. But on the other hand, if they show it and that's not what happened, I can see people coming up with like conspiracy theories, being like, oh, they chopped and screwed the footage and it's not on there anymore and stuff like that. That's not what it is, blah 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 blah. And Brandi getting more backlash, even though she would feel like she was vindicated. So I think them not showing it in a way is protecting everybody as a whole, but ultimately it's protecting Bravo, because not showing it allows people to make up their own interpretations about the situation. Now for Brandi, I need Brandi to stop getting on the internet so much, because my thing is, and I think what's turning people off, because one of my mutuals said it, like, girl, either show the receipts or shut up, because that's what I'm feeling now, because I'm just kind of like, Brandi, you constantly getting on the internet being like, I have receipts. For me, it's more so you trying to advocate your, what's the word? Advocate for like public perception for you to change versus you actually like holding on to this information and waiting to be seen in court. Because if I was you, I would be quiet. I would allow all these jobs to fall through. I would still continue to do my podcast. I would be going to therapy, and I would definitely like, you know, stack my evidence so when it comes time to go to court, you can blow Caroline out the water. But constantly coming on the line and being like, I have this, I have that, and we haven't seen any of that proof, it makes it seem like you don't have anything and you are guilty, and you just want people to be on your side because at the end of the day, it's the network's fault, not my fault. All right, y'all. So the last thing we're going to talk about is Real Housewives of Atlanta. So this was posted on Thursday around the time when it was announced that Kenya would no longer be a part of Real Housewives of Atlanta for season 16. And Kelly posted this to her Insta story where it says, y'all better know those facts before you speak. And then Brit Eady reposted it with the caption underneath it in her Insta story saying, play if you want to. And then it was a upside down emoji. So initially when I saw this, I thought this was about Kenya, but then as I started to like scroll throughout the day, I changed my opinion, because when Kelly posted this and Brit reposted it with the caption in her Insta story, this was around the time that Kenya posted like her goodbye post and thanking her fans and claiming that she would be vindicated and proven innocent about posting revenge PRN of Brit. So I was like, okay, that's probably who they talking about. But then I saw a post from the RHOA talk where they posted that Brit and Angela Oakley no longer follow each other. They unfollowed each other. And I think Angela Oakley unfollowed Brit. So I was like, maybe she's talking about, Kelly was talking about Angela Oakley. But then I was like, well, maybe she's also like talking about the YouTubers who are now discussing her divorce, because ever since that, I think it was like an In Touch Weekly or a Touch Magazine article came out about her bitter divorce, people have now started to gather information and like give their own commentary about it. So I was like, maybe that's who she's talking about. But I feel like she might have been talking about Angela Oakley, not Kenya Moore, because then Angela posted this where she said, imagine how much you could avoid if you knew someone's true intentions from the start. So I feel like that was shade towards Kelly. And it's interesting because it seems like all of the dynamics on the show is shifting now that Kenya is no longer there. Because Drew posted this yesterday where she said this on her Instagram, where she said, I grew out of calling everyone my friend. Some people are just cool, hi and bye. And then one of her fan pages called Drew Sidora News posted yesterday that Drew and Brit have unfollowed each other. So I was like, okay, maybe that was towards Brit, but now I feel like it might have been towards both Brit and Porsha, because it was reported yesterday night that and this is coming from Jay's reality blog, but they posted this: the dynamics are shifting in Atlanta. Porsha and Drew have unfollowed each other on IG. So maybe Drew was talking about both Brit and Porsha, but it definitely seems without Kenya, things might be falling apart and shifting. So the last thing we're going to talk about before we get up on out of here is Sheree versus Brit Eady. So Sheree was leaving Whole Foods, Home Depot, wherever. I saw Marshalls in the background of the clip. And somebody from TMZ came to her to ask her how she was feeling about Kenya no longer being a part of the show. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Kenya Moore leaving Real Housewives.
Oh my gosh, I hate to see my girl Kenya go out like that, but as an OG, it's kind of hard to sit back and watch the show kind of slowly sink the way it is. So I'm not happy. I don't like it.
You got any advice for her going forward?
Advice for Kenya? Listen, Kenya is a savage. I know she's not going down easy or quick. So we just gotta sit back and wait and see what happens. You know.
You ever thought about going back?
As an OG,
Yeah.
I always feel like an OG's presence is always welcome or needed on the series, no matter what capacity. So I never say never. If the coin is right, I just might.
And what do you think that would need to be?
The money. The money. She's all about her money, her paper.
And why'd you leave?
Why did I leave? Because the coin wasn't right.
So for the most part, I agreed with the things Sheree said in this clip. I do think Kenya will be okay. I could see Kenya being on Traders. I could see her being on House of Villains. I could see her being on like Celebrity Big Brother if they do one again. Like, I think Kenya is still going to be okay. I could see her even doing her little cameos, appearances on like that Netflix like sitcom, the one with Tia Mowry on it. So I feel like Kenya will be okay. And I do agree with Sheree about how like it sucks to see where RHOA is now, because when Atlanta was on top, Atlanta was sitting supreme for years, like the only franchise that was getting like over 3 and 4 million views a night. Like, I remember when Atlanta came out, there were people that were like, do not call me or talk to me around 8 o'clock because I'm sitting at the house with my wine watching Atlanta. I remember people having parties to sit down and watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. So when Atlanta was that girl, it was that girl. So I can understand Sheree being somebody who was there in the beginning, like since season 1 till now, and seeing how it isn't where it used to be, can be a sucky feeling. Now, what I disagree with Sheree is talking about like it was the money issue. That's why things didn't, they had to let her go, or if they ask her back, it's about the money. Girl, Sheree, no, we don't need you to come back because you don't know how to play the game. Sheree always attaches herself to people too harshly. She did it with Kim, and when Kim was no longer a part of the show, they let her go. You did it with Marlo, and when they got rid of Marlo, I think they were like, what's the need for Sheree? In all honesty, if they bring Sheree back, she just needs to be a friend of, and I mean like a small friend of, and they can keep it pushing. Now, people were clowning the whole TMZ of it all. Like, people were like, oh, TMZ in Atlanta. That's what Brit Eady said. So she posted this where she said, TMZ is in Atlanta, ... Interesting. So I guess Sheree caught wind of that, and she posted in her Insta story, alleged scammers on Housewives, ... Interesting. And I screamed. Like I said, y'all, I cackled. I said, oh, Sheree, that was a good clap back. Because normally Sheree's clapbacks online or in person do not hit well, okay? They do not hit. But that hit. I said, okay, Sheree. Okay. But the thing is like, at first, I kind of saw what Brit was saying, but then I thought about it. They filmed so many movies in Atlanta that why wouldn't TMZ be down there? Like, they filmed scenes for Wakanda Forever in Atlanta on Tyler Perry's soundstage. I know some of the scenes from Color Purple, I think, was filmed down in Atlanta. And there's so many movies that are based in Atlanta. And there's also a decent amount of like famous people that live in Atlanta. More so to me, I think it's like musicians that live in Atlanta, because Atlanta has such a big music scene with like rappers and R&B singers, and especially in the Black community live in Atlanta, that I can see TMZ being down there. But also there is like a big acting scene in Atlanta, and then I normally associate a lot of actors and actresses living in LA, but we can't negate that everybody lives spread out. So TMZ being down there isn't that unfathomable. And then somebody pointed out that you can send videos to TMZ and they'll just and they'll pay you for them. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, but I can see that they can't be everywhere at once, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, okay. But I was kind of impressed. I'm not gonna lie, I said, okay, Sheree. And this is like the second time. No, actually, this is the third time I've seen somebody say that Brit allegedly is a known scammer in Atlanta. So I'm like, girl, you might want to be careful, Brit. But some people also felt like maybe Sheree was trying to put her hat in the bucket, or is it the hat in the bucket? Whatever, y'all know what I mean. Trying to be like she's a part of the, like trying to get herself wedged in to the mix of the show so like they can ask her back for season 17 if they do ask her back. But I don't think they will, to be honest, if you ask me. I do think Brit might be feeling herself a little too much, because I don't think that comment was needed to be like TMZ in Atlanta interesting. Like, you were throwing shade, and I don't think there was a need to throw shade, but hey. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all I have for you today. As always, remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.